Today we're going to spend some time really thinking about how we can justify our mathematical process. In algebra, we really care about the right answer and really care about logical thinking, but we also care that we can communicate that thinking to help people understand why our process is the way it is, and really to justify and prove to someone like, no, I did the math right on this. So since we've been learning some of the foundational ideas of algebra, and we've been talking about some of the really foundational properties of algebra, I think this is a good time to hit pause and just practice the justifying of our process. And it goes perfectly in line with our statement of inquiry, because our statement of inquiry even ends in the phrase, while justifying the result. So, one way that we show we know what we're doing is by showing our math steps. So you'll notice over here, I've got a big old box that I'm going to show you my work. But then another way in which we show that we know what we're talking about is we're going to use vocabulary and words to really communicate what we're thinking. So I'm going to show you one example today, and then you're going to do some other practice. I think the best way to go about doing this is by showing my math steps and writing the process down simultaneously, meaning kind of doing both at the same time. So I'm going to look at this first example that is asking us to use the order of operations to evaluate. The order of operations we remember by saying GEMS. So when I'm looking at my first problem here, and I know I need to take care of grouping symbols if there are any, and we do have grouping symbols here. So 5 minus 1 is 4. Now, when you think about justifying your steps, I want you to think about this like you're the teacher, or like you were in class the other day when Miss Powers was teaching this and one of your friends missed class. And they're asking you like, dude, how do I do GEMS? What would you say, right? So I pre-wrote my steps because it is like terribly boring to watch someone writing in a video, and I don't want to bore you today, 8th graders. So what I said, and I put mine in a numbered list. You don't have to number your list. You can write one big old paragraph. You can write a few sentences, whatever feels right to you. But I said, 1, start by completing subtraction in parentheses. Okay? So when I think about the next step of GEMS, do I have any exponents? I sure do. So this is going to be the next thing that I do. Remember that 5 with that little 2 on it does not mean 5 times 2. It means 5 multiplied by itself. So 5 times 5, or 25. Okay, and if I'm thinking about justifying that step, right, I'm just going to write out basically what I just said. Next, evaluate exponents. Right? Notice how you don't have to write a novel, you don't have to say every little detail. And one thing you don't have to say is, notice how in my explanation, I never said 5 times 5 equals 25. And that's because if I'm saying next, evaluate the exponents, I'm expecting my reader to be able to look over at my work over here and see, oh yeah, okay, that's why they're taking 5 times 5. Right? So your math helps you justify as well. When I'm looking at the problem again, we don't have any multiplication or division, so I'm going to skip that step. My subtraction and addition goes from left to right. So I would go with 25 minus 13, which is 12. And then 12 plus 4 is 16. So this explanation got a little bit bigger, and I suppose because I just did 2 steps there, but really it's that kind of ending part of the GEM. So I grouped it all together, and I just said the last step of the order of operations is to do addition and subtraction from left to right. So you would take 25 minus 13 first, then add 4. So 8th graders, when I show you the answer key and it's got words on it, you do not have to have the identical phrasing as me. But you should be explaining your ideas. Why did you take the steps you did? Make sure you're thinking about using the vocabulary, like saying parentheses or grouping symbols, using the word evaluate, right? Order of operations instead of just GEMS. So be thinking about that while you are trying to be justifying your results today.